Hi friends, welcome to Yoga Home with Hannah. I'm Hannah and welcome to our first practice together. In this practice, we are going to focus on arriving and just starting our practice. There's nothing really that you need to bring to this practice except yourself. There's always things that you can have to make your practice a little more comfortable or easier on your body. For example, I have a yoga mat. I'm sitting on a towel or blanket. You can have a bolster and blocks if you would like, but none of these things are required. You can do this on your bedroom floor. You can do it on your kitchen floor. There's nothing really required for you to start your yoga practice except yourself. And we are starting today. We're focusing on arriving and just settling into our body and settling into this new practice and this new way of moving and being in our body, mind, and breath. So I invite you to find a comfortable seat, whether it's, like I said, on the floor, if you have a mat or a carpet. Just find a seat, find a nice comfortable seat. I'm sitting in easy seated pose or Sukhasana, and I have my legs crossed, my left one in front of me, but however you feel comfortable, find that seat now. And let's take some shoulder rolls up and back and down. Just starting to feel our body on the floor. This is not something that we do normally throughout the day unless you've got little ones and you're crawling around with them, or pets, or for whatever reason. But sometimes it's nice to just find ourselves grounded on the earth. Let's switch directions and move forward. Roll our shoulders forward, down. And finding our shoulders down, feel kind of like that weight of your shoulder, the lengthening of our neck, maybe tucking our chin just slightly to feel the length in the back of our neck. We can close our eyes here if that feels comfortable. And let's take a few deep breaths. And just notice where you feel your breath. Is it in your stomach? Is it in your chest, your sides? Where do you feel the movement of your breath? Just notice. You don't have to change anything. Today is about noticing and being aware and just beginning our practice. And on our next inhale, let's sweep our chest towards our right knee. Inhaling, exhaling, sweeping our chest forward, back, and up, making big circles with our torso. Inhaling forward to the right knee. Exhaling back to center. A few more times in this direction to the right. Exhaling back up. Inhaling forward, exhaling back and up, inhaling forward, exhaling back and up. And let's switch directions, inhaling towards our left knee, chest towards left knee, sweeping across, exhaling up, inhaling and exhaling, sitting back up tall. A couple more times here. Starting to wake up our body, wake up our spine, our hips, and coming back to center. Let's drop our shoulders back and down, inhaling, reaching our hands all the way up and overhead, exhaling, dropping the left hand towards the mat, reaching our right hand up and over, and moving with our breath here, exhaling that right hand down, inhaling, left hand up, exhaling down, inhaling, right hand up, exhaling down, and moving here with your breath, inhaling up, exhaling down, feeling that big stretch in your side body. couple more breaths here. Again, moving at your own pace, whatever feels good. If it feels good to linger on one side and get a little bit deeper stretch, do that here. Let's do one more to each side, taking our time. And coming back to center, rolling our shoulders up, back, and down again. And here, if you'd like to close your eyes once more, connect again with our breath. And I always invite my students to set an intention for their class. I offer the intention of beginning, of arriving, and starting something new in bravery, in courage. If there's another intention that you'd like to bring into your practice, maybe it's mental health, maybe it's peace, joy, contentment, maybe it's strength. Whatever it is, bring that to your mind's eye. We're just inviting it in. There's nothing to force, there's nothing to do. It's just an invitation within ourselves. And fluttering our eyes open once again, let's find our way onto all fours. So I've been sitting on a towel or blanket. You can move that towel out of the way if you have one underneath you. And let's find our way into all fours, top of the feet pressing down into the mat. Our shoulders are over our wrists, and our hips are over our knees. And let's just find that slight core engagement here. Feels like maybe our belly button is pulling up and in into our heart space. This is a good neutral spine. Our gaze is kind of slightly down and ahead of our fingers. And notice our breath here too. Where does our breath move in our body? The first step in our practice as we arrive into our yoga practice for the first time maybe is just noticing where we are, not trying to change anything. Not trying to force anything, just noticing. We're going to come into some cat-cows here. And so this is another place where we move with our breath. We will inhale, tipping our tailbone back and up, bring our chest forward, inhale, and maybe looking up to the top, maybe where the ceiling meets the wall, on the opposite side of the room. And exhaling, bringing that belly button in and up towards our heart, rounding our spine. And inhaling, moving through, shining our chest forward. Exhaling, rounding our spine, bringing our chin, tucking our chin in up just slightly. Inhaling. And exhaling, moving here with your own breath again. I always invite my students to move with their own breath. We don't breathe the same. So I don't expect us to move the same. And this is your practice. And I always encourage my students, especially online, if something feels good, you have the power to pause. Like literally pause your TV or your computer, wherever you're watching this. And take a few extra movements. And on our next inhale, let's come back to that neutral spine. That tabletop pose. Feel our feet pressing into the mat, our hands pressing into the mat. Feel those connection points. Coming into child's pose, bringing our knees as wide as the mat or wider, if that feels good to you. Bringing our big toes together and sinking our hips down and back into child's pose. Here we have some options with our hands. The most common way that we see child's pose is reaching out in front of us, but if you have a block or a blanket and you'd like to put that in front of you and put your head onto the block, if that feels better, on your hips and your back. You can also, if you don't have a block or a blanket readily handy, you can stack your fists and bring your forehead to your fists. Or if you'd like, you can take the traditional pose, sinking down into our child's pose. You can also bring your hands back behind your feet if you'd like, resting your forehead on the mat. Many options here. Find what works in your body right now, and that may be different today, tomorrow, next week, next year. And I invite us to take a few deep breaths here. This is a resting pose. This is where we can come at any time during our practice, during our day. Maybe revisiting that intention that you set a moment ago. And on our next inhale, we're going to look up towards our fingers, reach our fingers up ahead of us if they're not already there. Inhaling, bringing our chest forward, tucking our toes. We're going to lift our hips up and back, coming into downward facing dog, melting our heart towards our thighs. Here we keep a generous bend in our legs. We're focusing on melting our chest towards our thighs, lengthening our torso, lengthening our spine. Our gaze is down. Inhale, exhale, melting a little further, keeping those knees bent. We can walk our heels out if that feels good. If not, stay up on our toes. And looking towards the top of our mat, we're coming into forward fold. So we can get there a number of ways. If you would like to try jumping up towards your hands, you can do that. I like to just take baby steps, especially this early in our practice, taking baby steps up towards the top of our mat. And again, keeping that generous bend in our knees. Here we can cup our hands, cup our elbows in our hands. We can take a sway back and forth, maybe shake our head yes and no, just loosening up our neck. Sway a little bit side to side. And coming back to center. On our next inhale, let's lift halfway up, bringing our hands either to our thighs or maybe our shins, maybe a block or a bolster that you have in front of us. We're lengthening out our spine, keeping our knees bent still, but lengthening out our spine, bringing our shoulders down and back, broadening our chest for a halfway lift. Exhaling down. Let's practice that a few times. Inhaling, lifting up, hands come to our legs wherever is most comfortable. Exhaling, forward fold. And maybe each time you lift, inhaling, lengthening the crown of our head towards the opposite wall a little bit further, and exhaling a little bit deeper into our forward fold. Inhaling, exhaling a little bit deeper. On our next inhale, bending our knees, sweeping our arms up and overhead, reverse swan dive, bringing our hands all the way up into prayer pose. Bring your hands down to heart center. And this is mountain pose. We'll revisit this many times in our practice. A resting pose, a meditative pose similar to Sukhasana. Tadasana is mountain pose. Variations of this are arms by our side, welcoming in peace, joy, gratitude. And we can also lift our hands up into prayer, exhaling, bringing that love, joy, peace, gratitude, anything we need, bring it right to our heart. We can close our eyes here for a moment, connecting with our breath, maybe noticing, is your heart rate up a little bit just from the movements that we've been doing, waking up our body? Do you feel the blood moving in your body? Do you feel the breath in your lungs? Opening our eyes up, inhaling, sweeping our hands up and over, swan diving, bending our knees, exhaling, all the way back down to forward fold, inhaling, lifting halfway up, exhaling, forward fold, flowing a little bit here, inhaling, bend the knees, sweeping our hands up, exhaling to heart center. Let's do that flow 2 more times. Inhaling, sweeping our hands up, overhead, exhaling, swan dive to the earth, keeping our knees bent, inhaling, halfway lift, exhaling, forward fold, inhaling, reverse swan dive, up and overhead, gathering peace, joy, love, gratitude, contentment, depositing it right at our heart center. And one more time, inhaling, up, exhaling, arm sweep out to the side and down, inhaling, halfway lift, exhaling, forward fold, reverse swan dive, inhaling, our arms up and overhead, and exhaling to heart center. Good. Taking a moment again here. Feel your heartbeat. And let's inhale, sweeping our arms up overhead. Exhaling, swan dive. This time when we come down, let's bend our knees quite generously so that we can bring our hands right down to the mat. So if we need to heel toe our feet apart to do that and bend our knees, we can do that. Let's step back, right and left, sending our hips up and back, exhaling, pressing our chest back into our thighs, bending our knees to downward facing dog. And take a breath here. And on our next exhale, bringing our knees down to the earth, wide as the mat, big toes come together, sending our hips back for child's pose. And inhaling, looking up to the top of our mat. This time, coming back to all fours, we're going to swing our hips down to the mat, coming back to our seated pose, this time facing long ways. And we're actually going to bring the soles of our feet to the mat. And keeping our knees bent, we're going to come down into our final relaxation, corpse pose or shavasana. So we're grabbing a hold of the backs of our thighs here. Feet are flat on the floor. Make sure you're centered on your mat so you have room behind you to come down onto the mat. And on our exhale, let's make a C shape with our spine. Exhaling, rolling down, feeling each vertebrae hit the mat one at a time. Slowly, 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 as slow as you can go. Until finally our head rests down on the mat. Let's bring our knees up and in. You can either, again, grab behind our thighs or our knees, whatever feels good. You can take some knee circles, opening up and in. Inhaling, opening up. Exhaling, bringing them in. Inhaling, opening up. Exhale, bringing them in. We can also stir our knees like we're stirring a pot, feeling that good massage on our low back. And whenever we're ready, let's lengthen one leg out, flexing our foot and resting it on the floor. Our other foot lengthening it out, resting it on the floor. And here we're coming into final relaxation. This is an important part, if not the most important part of our practice. If you only have 5 minutes or 2 minutes to practice yoga, this is what we should be doing. Allowing ourselves to completely relax, relaxing our toes, no longer worrying about flexing our feet or pointing our toes, relaxing our fingers, letting our shoulders just melt down into the floor, releasing the tension in our forehead, releasing the tension in our jaw, releasing the tension around our eyes. Let our eyes be soft in their sockets. Notice your breath, not changing anything or forcing anything, just noticing it. Noticing where in your body you feel different, better, worse, hopefully not, changed, awakened by this practice. We're just noticing. Again, the first step of our yoga practice is noticing. We've arrived here. And that says a lot about our heart and our mind, our spirit. I challenge you and I encourage you to continue to arrive, to show up for yourself. And if you have more time to spend here in final relaxation, I encourage you to do so. If not, then I wish you the very best on your day. On our next inhale, bringing our hands up into prayer, exhaling, our thumb comes to our third eye, right in the center of our forehead. I wish you peace and love and contentment, joy, gratitude. I wish you well. Namaste, friends.